This is just a quick video about an experience that I had at a local Cabela's a couple of months ago. And basically what I did was I drove up to the Cabela's, which happens to be in Connecticut, and I was looking for this particular Ruger LCR. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's really busy at Cabela's. A lot of people buying guns, a lot of looky-loos, people with no permits, trying out guns, asking to dry fire guns and things like that. Not an experience I think I'm going to do again. I'd rather stick with the smaller stores. But anyway, while I was up there, I asked for this Ruger LCR 38 Special, and after about 40 minutes or so, my turn was up, and I filled out the paperwork and for the background check, etc. And I noticed there was two guys at the counter about 20 feet down from me. And they were just like looking, browsing, looking. And every time I looked up, they seemed to be looking at me. So I just put it, on my radar. I didn't make a big production about it. I thought maybe they're interested in the same gun that I was buying, because the guy that was helping me was kind of loud. And he was, throwing suggestions at me about this gun or that gun, when, again, I wanted this gun. So, long story short, when it was time to pay, I went up to the counter, and there is only one counter where you could pay for your guns at this particular Cabela's. I don't know about other Cabela's. And that's the counter where, you have your background check, and then you go pay for that gun. And so while I was there, I picked up a holster, picked up some ammo, a few other things. And it came to whatever it came to. I forget exactly the price. And I took out, I guess you'd call it a wad of money. I'm in a cash type of business. And I counted out whatever the number of hundreds were needed to purchase, make my transaction. And again, I noticed these two guys that were now on the same line as me. But the thing that struck me odd was, this is the line to purchase firearms. And what they had was not even ammunition. They had some knickknacks, like a little package of targets, and it seemed like a holster. And I didn't see they had this stupid little beeper thing that they give you. It's like a Red Lobster. When your number's called, you got this beeper, and when they're ready to serve you, you bring up this little flashing beeper type of a thing. I didn't see they had one of those. But I did notice, again, they seemed to be looking at me. So now I sort of went into the next level of alertness. And again, I probably shouldn't have flashed the money that I had, but hey, I was paying cash. It's my money. It's America. I could do what I want. So I paid, for the purchase, and the guy put everything in two bags. And what I did was I asked him to throw it in one bag. So he gave me a larger bag, and I put the pistol in the box, and I put the ammo, the holster, and whatever else I happened to buy that day, and I threw it in one bag. And this is now on the second floor of Cabela's. So as I start to go down the escalator, lo and behold, the guys that were buying this miscellaneous items are now on the escalator behind me. So again, I know there is not enough time for them to have waited on that line, which was the wrong line anyway. If they wanted the knickknacks they were buying, there's about 18,000 other cash registers that were open that they could have went to. You wouldn't wait on the line where you're purchasing a gun only. Anyway, they are now on the escalator. I'm near the bottom of the escalator, and they are now on the top of the escalator. And I basically glanced over my shoulder, and they looked down. And I said to myself, this is a great place if you're a criminal to rob someone, because if you think about it, there's probably a lot of first-time gun buyers going to these big chain stores like Cabela's to purchase a pistol. I, however, was not a first-time gun buyer, and so it turned out to be beneficial for me, because as I went outside, it was starting to get close to dusk. It was still light out, and I had my car parked a few lanes away from me, And again, in the back of my eye, I'm sort of turning my head and I'm seeing these guys following about 50 feet behind me. So again, I'm not really a nervous type of guy, but I'm aware. And that's really the purpose of the story, is to just tell you that you got to watch when you go to these places, because if you're not aware, something bad could happen. And you got to be paying attention and not on your cell phone and not, whatever, just not being stupid. You gotta be aware of what's going on. So I slowed down a little bit because I did hear the pace of one of the guys was wearing a harder shoe, because I could hear the heels clicking against the asphalt. And when I got to my car, and it is a luxury car, it's a nice car, and I said to myself, if I go to get into my car, I'm going to open up my driver's side door, and I'm pretty much setting myself up for a trap, because if at that point they want to rush me, my back is going to be against the door, and I could either defend myself or get in the car, try to lock the door, and who knows, they could shoot me through the window, whatever it was. But I know they had their eye on, my purchase. And I, like I said, if you think about it, it's a great place for a criminal to rob someone, especially if they're in a gang or whatever they are, a bad guy overall. They need a gun. Why not rob a brand new gun that's just purchased from a Cabela's or, one of these places like that. And so anyway, as I got to my car, I did hear the pace of one of them picking up a little quicker. And I decided that I'm going to turn around and confront the guys. And when I did, I don't know what one guy had in his hand. It looked like a small flashlight like this. I did see, it wasn't orange, but I did see a colored button on the side, and he had it sort of clutched like this in his hand. So I'm sorry, but at that point I considered it a threat. They made direct eye contact with me, and what did I do? I had this gun in my waistband in an appendix carry, and all I did was lift up my shirt, and I didn't draw it completely from the holster. I pulled it about that much out of the holster, and I said, "Can I help you?" Just like that. And lo and behold, when they saw this gun, they stopped what they were doing, and they actually each went in a separate direction. So their car was not anywhere near my car was. One guy went one way, another guy went the other way. And I basically stood there for a minute to see what would happen. There wasn't anyone else in the parking lot, by the way. And I stood there for a second, and then I noticed the other guy went all the way around 3 more lanes, and he got into a crappy pickup truck that the other guy was driving, and that was 3 lanes away from me, 3 sections away from me. So there is no ifs, ands, or but that these people were attempting to rob me. And I feel that some people will say, hey, you're paranoid or whatever. I could care less, really, what anyone thinks. If you're following me down an escalator, and you're coming down my lane close to, where my car is parked, and you've been eyeballing me the whole time that I'm in the store, I'm considering a threat. Did I shoot them? No, it wasn't necessary to shoot them. I had other guns on me at the time. I had an ankle holster. I had another one. I carry neck knives. I'm prepared. But it's not necessary to shoot someone because, you don't need the legal hassle. It's in a parking lot. It's going to cause a problem, and I don't need that. What I did need them to do was do exactly what they did. Leave me alone. But basically, the purpose of this video is just to tell people that, I don't know if you think about it, a lot of us carry guns, and even when we buy a gun, we have another 1 or 2 next to us, on us. But a lot of guys are first-time buyers, and if you're going to purchase a pistol, that is the perfect time for a thief to rob you. And one other thing about Cabela's, another reason why I won't go there again, is if you, in this particular one in Connecticut, there is a big sign on the door of this gun store. I know it's a sporting store, but it's a large gun dealer, and it says, no firearms allowed. So number 1, I won't go back there for that particular reason. And number 2, they have like a rent-a-cop in this front of the store, where they'd like you to give your firearm to, and it seems like he puts it in a little cubby hole, which again, I don't want it. It's called concealed carry for a reason. I don't want anyone to know that I'm carrying a gun. So I'm sorry, I didn't abide by their store law, so to speak. I kept my gun, this particular one and the one on my ankle, on me, and I didn't bother anyone. No one knew it was there. I had a baggy shirt on, no big deal. And so that's the other reason I'm not going to shop at Cabela's. But basically this video is just a warning to people. When you shop at these stores, again, what better place for a thief to obtain a handgun than to rob one directly from someone who just purchased one? They know it's a good gun, after all. It's brand new. And it would have been very easy for them to bum rush me as I opened my car. There were two guys, you know, large in size. I'm not a little guy myself, and I have some self-defense training. But the bottom line is I'm a businessman. I don't really want to be rolling on the floor having a fight with anyone. And I didn't have to. So I told this story to a law enforcement good friend of mine, and he said, well, you know, you did the right thing, but, you know, it could be considered brandishing a firearm. And I said, you know what? I could care less what you want to call it. I think I did the right thing because, again, I proved myself right that they went in opposite directions, and their car was parked 3 levels over from where my car. So if it turned out that I was paranoid and their car happened to just be next to mine, then yeah, I would have been wrong to show my gun. But again, I didn't pull it fully out of my waist, just enough that they could get a glimmer at it. Luckily, I had this one, so it's, you know, shiny stainless steel, and they were able to see it. And that's it. But it's just basically a cautionary video letting people just be aware when you go to a gun shop. Believe it or not, it's a good place for a thief to make an attack. And that's it. So I've heard other people had somewhat similar instances. I'd be interested in hearing if anyone else had a situation similar to this. Again, this is the Cabela's in Hartford, Connecticut. I haven't been to any other ones, and quite frankly, that's the last time I'll be going to Cabela's anyway, for the reasons stated. And that's it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Thanks.